Hi, this is Small doing a UCL recording for semifinals match between Sinister Serpents and Rocky Head Aeros. Cow is Rocky Head Aeros and Rubyblood is Sinister Serpents. And if you don't know Cow, he is one of the top players for Black and White currently. He's new, but he's proven to be very good. Gets to finals to a bunch of things. And Rubyblood is an SPL level player, so this should be a good match between them. Obviously, this is way after UCL season ended, so if you already know how this goes, then hopefully you'll stick around just for me yapping for however many long minutes. But alright, let's start talking about the matchup here. So this is the Scarm Jelly offensive kind Cow. The goal is to go to Skarmory and click spikes and rocks, whatever hazards, and then use Jelly to spin block. This is kind of an interesting 6 because this is a super offensive team, right? From Cow, and you have Ditto on it, and Ditto is a anti-offense spawn you'll sometimes see on slower builds, just so they don't get auto-run over by certain things. The idea probably here is use Garchomp and Jirachi and Spikes to set up for a Scizor win con, and use Keldeo to revenge kill whatever you get killed by yourself. So from Rubyblood, this is kind of interesting. Typically Celebi on your sand builds runs like a nasty plot set, or with either HP Fire, HP Ice, or it can run a substitute like Baton Pass type thing. I'm not too sure what to expect from this Celebi specifically. I could see Nasty Plot being a thing. I can also see Sub Pass being a thing too. But yeah, let's see how this plays out. So there you see the Skarmory. Probably gonna click Spike or something. Ooh, Icy Wind, okay. That's really interesting. Icy Wind probably to chip Lando some. Not get owned by Drill in this specific scenario because you can't get flinched down at all. Sub-Drill is also scary for these Skarm Jelly teams, just because of the fact that Skarmory drops Whirlwind for taunts or whatever else. So Excadrill actually can get pushed out. So Drill is kind of annoying. Substitute Drill is not even super common. So kind of unfortunate for Cal here in the matchup. But as you see, you use Jellicent spin block. Keep it healthy so I can come in later. Yep, there's a substitute. Shadow Ball was kind of baller. I would have been scared of Leaf Storm, especially because you don't know what set it is. Maybe he knows that on this type of team it's a sub pass and not Nasty Plot or whatever, and that's something I don't know. He's a better player than me, so trading Garchomp for some Keldeo health is honestly not even bad because it helps Scizor out, especially if it doesn't have quick attack. So you come in an HP Ghost. Yep. Baller Ditto. And now you just get a free sword because Celebi is super low. And it's gonna die to it anyways. Can't go Lando because Lando dies to 2, I'm pretty sure. Oh. So the reason why you don't go Lando instead of like, let's say you preserve Celebi there is because honestly Celebi doesn't even look that useful anymore. It's like super low at that point. And you use Landos to check Scizor and whatever else. And at this point, just because Cal made this baller read with the Secret Sword, and knowing that Landers is free to kick EQ and then Ditto dies, right? Like, that's what the thought behind this U-turn is, that like, oh, if I click EQ, then this Ditto dies and whatever else. But honestly, the Sacred Sword isn't even like super crazy, because Landers should also respect the fact that taking Rocky Helmet Chip from Skarmory is gonna further this win con for Scizor, right? If Celebi gets healed, it's whatever. This probably does not have HP Fire, so Scizor will just eventually win. And then this is probably Scarf. So at this point, the game is kind of lost, just because everything is so chipped. And you have these two threats in the back. It's probably a Healing Witch Jirachi. I can definitely see that. Heatran still looks a bit scary. Kind of depends on the set. Maybe it's. I would expect this to be like Sunny Day Trapper, maybe. I can see Protox, maybe. Yeah, I'm probably. I don't see how Rubyblood could win, but maybe there's a world he wins from this position. I don't really think so. Everything's kind of chipped, and every time Keldeo kills something right, Cow just gets something in return. And at this point, there's no fighting resist, so Keldeo actually probably just ends up actually winning this game by itself. If Rubyblood's Keldeo kills something, then Cow's Keldeo just ends up killing something in return. So yeah, it's kind of rough. Probably a reasonable forfeit then. Okay, so let's get into the matchup for Game 2. So Alakazam is a pretty notorious rain killer. And the reason is that everything on rain is going to eat a bunch of damage. If this is Lorb, Citrus, Thundy, it's going to get Citrus procced, and it's going to eat a bunch of damage. Probably 2-hit KO'd. I'm not too sure how it's pretty sure it is. Starmie dies with run round of rocks. I'm pretty sure it also can die without rocks. Lorb H2 Fire or Focus Blast into Jirachi, and Ferrothorn's also dangerous, and Lorb Psychic kills everything else, whether it's Politoed or Dundee, Chip Dundee, or what isn't just like Oko Politoed, or Thundurus, but it'll heavily dent them, especially if they're chipped, and especially because Politoed's a rather setter. Chipping down these mons is key to your winning before rain wins. Sash Shazam is also a bit scary because it can, if Thundurus isn't quite sweeping through with agility yet, Sash Shazam will live one guaranteed, and then probably kill it back. But yeah, so the idea behind this double steal team from Cow is to chip down the checks, whether it's Ferrothorn or Latios. So you're gonna like use either your Keldeo or Starmie or Thundurus, whatever, to break through one of these mons, and then probably Healing Wish it later if you need to. And from Rubyblood's team, is a pretty standard stand build. Die score doesn't look super great in this matchup. It's gonna have to rely on Latios and Alakazam and Ferrothorn to pull their weight. I don't think there's a Scarf Drill in this build. just because there seems to be some decent amount of speed control. I could be wrong. This could be Scarf Drill. Let's see how it plays out. So, just because of the fact that Polytoad led, despite Tyranitar leading, this probably tells me it's an offensive Polytoad. This could be Choice, this could be Custap, this could be Chesto, Resto with random attacks. And it's interesting because there's a couple different leads on both sides. Go to lead, either side could lead Pharaoh and just try to get rocks or whatever. I don't really think that makes much sense for Cal, just because of the fact that rocks is not really great. Getting rocks up is not as important for Cal as it is to make sure rocks don't stay up for him, so it doesn't really make much sense, I guess, if he doesn't lead, if he led Pharaoh. But on the flip side, depending on his Keldeo item, I would let Keldeo, because if I'm like Specs or whatever, Sacred Sword's gonna beam this Ferrothorn, right? I also could have seen, depending on this Jirachi set, if it's Healing Wish or if it's mixed, I could have seen Jirachi lead. Or just like Calm Mind or whatever. But yeah, we see the Hydro Pumps are probably an offensive Polytoad. Especially given the fact there's leftovers. So, HP Fire makes sense. This is a common line from rain builds when you see this Ferrothorn come in and then a Latios comes in. You might be thinking, oh wow, Cal just beasted that interaction by going to Ferrothorn, and I covered the Ferrothorn's move or whatever, and it also covered the Latios. Wow, what a beast. So this should ring an alarm for HP Fire and Latios, which seems pretty reasonable on this, because steals look kind of annoying, especially if this is Focus Blast Alakazam, or even if this is HP Fire, then steals and rain are kind of an issue. So this is a common line of rain from Cal to go to Ferrothorn, and then on a fire move that seems plausible, like on D-Knight, like Fire Punch from D-Knight or HP Fire from Latios or whatever, you go to Polytoad, the Scout. Bam, there it is. Now Tyranitar comes in. Let's see what Cal goes into. Yep. Pretty reasonable. Scary. This could have a fire move, but because Latios does, probably unlikely. Keldeo makes sense here. If this is sub, which it could be, but leftovers sub CM. Sub CM looks a bit demonic here, doesn't it? It's gonna claim, or it's gonna claim a kill. At worst, probably, if Gliscor's. Yeah, Gliscor U-turns. Yep, sub makes sense. So probably Quick Scald or CM. Surf broke there. Oh no, it's gonna Quick Substitute because the Surf breaks because of the U-turn damage, right? And so you're gonna force Latios to Draco, and then it's at -2, and then you're gonna CM with your sub up, right? Because you have to slow sub, and now you look like a demonic threat when you CM here, like a beast. Or Scald too, that makes sense. The Scald here is fishing for a burn. There it is. Yeah, so the idea here is that he's gonna trade his Keldeo for Latios, probably. That's probably what's gonna end up happening, because what else can you do, right? You don't want to toss away anyone else. I guess tossing away anyone else doesn't even actually get you anything. Yeah. He has to go Latios here. I'm not too sure if Zam dies, but yeah, I guess you can just toss away your Zam at this point. I mean, your Latios at this point, keep the Zam. rather than trying to preserve a probably dead Latios and then throwing away your Zam as well. So if there's no Scarfer here, by the way, it's probably sashed in. Do we see? This could be. This is probably Scarf Drill, so this is maybe Lord Zam. This is probably Spikes. Yeah, because it says Stealth Rock, so this is probably Spikes. Yeah, that makes sense. And there you see the cut stat. So this looks like crazy rough for Rubyblood right now. If he wins this, it'd be insane. Either some insane outplaying or in some insane luck. Let's see what happens. Yep, there's the U-turn. Fire Punch also plausible there, but kind of a momentum sink if it doesn't hit. Fortunate Focus Blast. And this looks kind of annoying if it does not get this turn right. You know, he doesn't get the turn right. Of course, the Focus Blast that doesn't matter hits. Focus Blast that does matter doesn't hit. Unfortunate for Cow, because this is a much more obnoxious game. Just because of the fact that Alakazam still outspeeds everyone, right? Thundurus hasn't agility'd up yet. So let's see what he does here. He should have HP Ice here. I don't agree with the agility click. You definitely should either HP Ice or Focus Blast, because at worst you kill the Gliscor, right? Or like chip it down again. Focus Blast is gonna dent this Tar, but it's also gonna hit kill the Alakazam. It's also gonna kill the Ferrothorn. And Gliscor doesn't really do much to you in return for if the if he hits does anything. So he can't really do anything. I mean, he gets a slow U-turn and then he pivots to Tyranitar. I would have just Focus Blast, HP Ice, honestly. I think HP Ice makes more sense. Because then you force in I would go Zam. Honestly, this is a lot more complicated, actually. This is a tough turn. Tough turn from both. I would have just took the HP Ice kill. Or Focus Blaster for sure. I wouldn't have agiled. But like the more I think about it, the more I understand why Cow agility here. Because it disincentivizes Alakazam from coming in, and then if you hit the Focus Blast or Thunder here, whatever you go for, probably Focus Blast. You dent the Tar, and then Starmie can win. So, and this is like a roll to kill with the Sand, I'm assuming. So this is just super unfortunate. So he spun for Politoed. Let's see if Pump kills. Or Focus Blast. No. This is over now. That Focus Blast must really decided it all, I guess. I'm not too sure what sequencing was proper there from that Gliscor turn with the Dundee agility. I'm not too sure if it was proper. That was definitely a hard turn. Did I initially harder turn than I initially thought? I think you take the kill with the HP Ice because you also take away the sack. And if Zam comes in for whatever reason, you kill Zam. Ferrothorn comes in and doesn't solve anything. And if Tyranitar comes in, then it's like, well, it's better than agility, right? Because you're already faster and you just get some chip. So, yeah. I don't know. That was tough. I would have just HPIs. I think HPIs is more proper. But yeah. I mean, he should have had that game if he just hit the focus blast. But that's Mons. Sometimes the dice rolls don't work out in your favor, and you have to roll with it. Well played from Rubyblood for sticking through with it. That was definitely looked over. Kudos to him for not just forfeiting early. Anyways, let's go to game 3. So now we have a stall matchup, right? We have Psychic, Spam, loose term, from Cow, and then just a standard, not really standard, kind of a weird sand build actually, because you have Amungus. Amungus is not really seen common. This team looks super weak to Alakazam. I'm gonna hope there's a Scarf Landorus or something, Scarf Drill, Scarf something to dodge this auto loose to Zam, but because there is no Zam, I guess if he doesn't have a Scarfer, then I guess the fish paid off, so well played to him. I definitely recommend, and most people recommend, that if you're playing a balance, you have a Scarfer or like a bunch of priority, right? This team doesn't really have that. Amungus is kind of weird. Sometimes you see eject button, sometimes you see black sludge. It kind of depends on the build. Because there's no big breaker on this build, I would assume it's just like black sludge, whatever. So from Cow's team, he's gonna want to lure in Latios. Use Latios to lure in Tyranitar and then try to beat down everyone else, because Rionkos looks super strong here, right? Especially if he manages to get it burnt or whatever, toxic. I'm not too sure what coverage these two could have. This is probably Cobra Latios for sure, right? Yeah, let's see how this plays out. Standard. Could be scary because Rotom could easily trick there, right? And now your Blissey's kind of doomed if it got tricked, so tough turn. Ice Beam trying to snipe the Landorus, that makes sense. Oh, actually snipes the extra with a freeze. Rough for Rubyblood, especially because it's turn 2 in the game. And he's got to play with spikes and hazards up, or much of the game, unless he manages to freeze it. Volt Switch trying to catch a switch there. I think Hippo can eat a pump, and then fish for a miss maybe. So I definitely think that was unnecessary. You could have clicked Wisp there, for sure. Or just pumped. Whoa, crazy turn. Okay, so this is whatever, right? This is standard. Hippo should kick out the Tyranitar. Well, not kick out, but Tyranitar definitely does not want to eat Q, right? So I'm assuming that he clicks Crunch knowing that Hippo is going to click Whirlwind, or guessing Whirlwind, right? Because Whirlwind looks super free. You should swap out to like Landorus or Rotom or something to avoid an EQ and then get your own stuff up, right? Or do whatever. Threaten Hydro Pump, Wisp. Wisp is kind of hard to click this game because of the Reuniclus. But I'm sure it certainly isn't. Or Volt Switch, one or the other, right? So this is either a crazy read by Rubyblood, or it was a play that just happened to work out because Cow overpredicted. Because I guess he's trying to use Latios to get a dent on Rotom. Just click a Draco or whatever, right? Or Landorus. Or even Keld. No, Keld makes sense. So Keld can come in for free. Well, not for free, but Keld can come in here if it doesn't click Whirlwind. If it clicks EQ, then you throw in a Scald back. Right? No, that doesn't really make much sense, because the damage on Keldeo is permanent, and the damage on Hippo is not permanent. Right? Because it can just slack off or whatever. So, I guess he was trying to catch Rotom, but even then, Rotom could just eat the Draco, and then pretty sure Rotom can eat the Draco anyways, and then it would just lead to Tyranitar coming in. So I'm not too sure what he was trying to catch here. And there's a Latios, yep. And now your Latios can't do its job. The job is to enter Tyranitar and do as much damage as you can to everything else. But the main job is Tyranitar, but also defensively checking Keldeo, right? And now it can't do any of that. It's gonna get off like a Draco or a Surf or whatever. And Tyranitar just beasted, and now it just looks super tough for Cal. Rough for sure. Yeah, maybe he was trying to go Latios, bluff Specs maybe on a Draco, and then Rotom swaps out or whatever. I'm not too sure what the thought was, because this is, if I was Rubyblood, I looked at this team, but I'm like, yeah, this is definitely a Cobra Latios, right? And Draco doesn't one-shot anything here, and then it pivots into Tyranitar. Huh. I'm not really too sure. Super awkward. I guess maybe he thought that the chip was all he needed. That if whatever ate the Draco and then swapped it into Tyranitar, and then whatever chip he got into Tyranitar would be sufficient. I guess that was the thought. So paralysis is gonna go a long way here, because now he has to set it for every Uniclus win con or Excadrill clicking Iron Head a bunch of times, right? And really the only realistic way I can see Cal winning this game is just by para everything, right? Make everything slower, and then try to chip the things that can't be paired or unlikely to be paired. Try to chip them down so Uniclus can just win, right? That makes sense to me. Excadrill comes in trying to unthaw. Gets a chance here. Hippo comes in, it's gonna threaten EQ, probably clicks Whirlwind, right? Let's see what happens. Yep, Whirlwind, yep. Yep, there's a Uniclus. You go to the Scald and try to get burned. Yep. Okay, that's super lucky for Cal. If this yeah, because now Mungus can't come in this stunt sport later, which is like the only thing Mungus is pretty much useful at this point for, aside for being a sack and a mild annoyance. So Skarmory's gonna probably get him up now. Yeah, this makes sense. Could also greeted, but getting the guaranteed damage, totally also reasonable. Yeah, get him up. Excadrill Thaws, probably kicks Rapid Spin. Yep. With Rocky Helmet, Skarm. That also makes sense. You typically see that on these solar builds. The chip down spinners. So the idea is Skarmory's going to try cooking spikes to lure in Excadrill, right? Because it eventually has a quick rapid spin. So its teammates doesn't get chipped down, because you need this Tyranitar to check Uniclus, right? Crunch does like 60 or 70, somewhere around there. Pursuit also does something similar. And Tyranitar is faster than Uniclus. So like you could sack something into Uniclus and then get Tyranitar in if you'd like. But so the idea is that you want to get this spikes chip damage on everyone at this point to kind of like line them up to be like O-code or whatever. 2-hit KO'd, whatever, just like significantly chipped. And you do that with spikes, right? Because it's going to click spikes and ruin, and then the spinner gets punished for spinning and coming in because it's going to take spikes damage. And then it's also going to take damage to Rocky Helmet from Skarmory. Like, that's the idea. It's going to use Reuniclus here to learn Tyranitar probably, or Drill. Yep. Even though it doesn't click Psychic or Focus Blast or whatever, you make them come in to take Spikes damage. And Rubyblood is trying to minimize the amount of times Tar comes in with Spikes up. Because when Spikes are up, you get punished for trying to check Reuniclus. And I think Kyle wants to do that and try to win by chipping down Tyranitar enough to the point where he can't do that anymore. Because like everything here only 3-hit KOs or whatever. Reuniclus aside from Tyranitar. So he kind of needs that to actually stay in the game for the most part, barring crits or flinches from extra or whatever. Also, yeah, there's no Scarfer. These no Scarf teams are scary to use in general, but because this is a tournament game and Rubyblood's a much better player than me, he's using it. I think most people would tell you though that if you're using these slow teams, like slow balancy teams, not even just necessarily slow, but if you're using a slow team like Cow or whatever, like Stall, you can get away with not using Scarfer, but like on these balance teams, you should absolutely use Scarfer because this is just Zam food, right? Life Orb Zam looks totally, like, nearly unplayable. And it's gonna quick recover here. That one spike is putting in a lot of work. It's pushing the win con more and more. Rubyblood needs to keep that in mind when he's clicking Pursuit or Crunch. Like, am I going to be able to come in on the next time that Reuniclus is in to punish it? Because that's really the only thing stopping from... Tyranitar is the only thing stopping from Reuniclus is clicking CM and recovering over and over again, just winning the game through that. There's no switch into Keldeo, so it probably gets sacked. Yeah. Yeah. Depending on the Reuniclus health, it could come in. Nah. So I thought Reuniclus could have come in here because Scald only does like 35% or something like that, and then Reuniclus is at 33% right now, but then plus leftovers, it's going to be at 39. So it's outside of the, probably outside of the roll, right? But does not appear that's the case. And the reason why I only brought that up is because I thought you could go to it. But it's important to keep a note that if you lose your Mon, like if your Mon dies and you throw a Mon out, you don't get leftovers from it. Yeah, so that's like what I was originally thinking. But because you don't get leftovers, then Reuniclus is in Scald range. So it makes sense to go Skarmory. You're gonna threaten Brave Bird. Keldeo has to respect that option, right? Keldeo's kind of holding this together too. Yeah. Swap out the Rotom. Rotom is free. Yep. Also important to note that without Stealth Rocks, Landorus is healing. U-turn probably wasn't necessary there to chip down the... I don't think that... U-turn was necessary. This is Scarfland, not Scarfland, left, just a standard defensive lander, sorry. Yeah, I definitely don't know why you're clicking U-turn to the Skarmory. It's probably just gonna stand. You're not really threatening anything with it. It doesn't really make much sense to U-turn. You're just chipping yourself down, and you're putting pressure on yourself to stay healthy because you're getting closer and closer to Reuniclus, just killing you. That's something to keep in mind when you're clicking U-turn all these times. Like, obviously, yes, he's trying to catch a switch as Skarmory switches out to something, but like, what does Skarmory aim to switch out into here? Really unfortunate crit. That doesn't kill. Especially if you click Babe Bird or something, this Keldeo just dies straight up. But what he can do now is he can either go Hippo. Hippo's gonna eat something for free, and then probably roll one out or get rocks up or whatever, right? Or he could go to Reuniclus and just click Recover. And then Tyranitar is gonna be like 9% or whatever. Probably gets rocks up. Oh, clicks Rowan. Okay. Probably goes Reuniclus, yep. And this could be a roll to kill. Like you turn EQ from Landorus here. I'm not too sure which one more. Not too sure if that's a roll. Could be feasible. Could be a feasible roll. I definitely think there is a world where you click U-turn here as Landorus, right? Like 100%, because let's say Reuniclus clicks an attacking move, you U-turn, and let's just say U-turn doesn't U-turn doesn't kill here from here, right? Reuniclus should just click Recover here, right? But let's just say for the sake of it, it just attacks. You go Tyranitar dies, but you just go back to Landorus, and now Reuniclus is at like 5% health or whatever, and it's free. And then you just play the game to not let it recover. But I don't really get with this EQ. Maybe this EQ was a roll and he had a wrong spread or whatever. I don't know, maybe miscalculated it. I don't really like this EQ though at all. This EQ doesn't make sense to me. I would have U-turned here and just go Tyranitar, because if it clicks Recover, then you have your Pursuit Trap, and this is down to 50-50. I'd click Crunch every time though, 100%, just to not let it get the. No, you just click Pursuit. No, you click Crunch if it stays in. Just not let it heal. Yeah, I think this is kind of a toss by not U-turning here. Also important to note that Reuniclus has only revealed Psychic as an attacking move, so unsure what Reuniclus has for the fourth move. Reuniclus comes in here, probably clicks Recover. Should click Recover, because if Keldeo clicks Scald, then it's kind of a waste, because Reuniclus just heals it off. But also Excadrill sacking is a totally real possibility. And then Tyranitar should come in for free here. For sure, if this is Mono Psychic, then this makes sense switching out, but I think if you're not Mono Psychic, you should definitely just click whatever move to kill the Tyranitar. But I'm assuming that because it doesn't, then it makes sense. I'm saying that you should kill the Tyranitar here because Reuniclus lives every hit afterwards from anyone else here, and Reuniclus just wins. I bet confusing if that's not the case. So now you get the rocks up because it's going to chip down Rotom, and it's also going to chip down landers every time they swap in and out. EQ is fine. Yeah. Keld's in, but that's like whatever. Yeah, it just dies. Crit didn't matter. Landers comes in. You just sack the hippo, and then you go Renequest and you quick recover, yeah. And barring crits, this should not die. Or high rolls. Oh, yeah, barely lived. So now this is just up the crits at this point. If Rubyblood gets him, then he gets bailed. But if he doesn't, then Cow wins. Quick recovery here to avoid crit. Yeah. Yep, that makes sense. Yep. So that's just like something you want to keep in mind, especially when playing these slower teams, is that because you're playing like these teams that are super slow, and you're gonna like use recover a lot or like something similar like boosting moves, you want to keep in mind crits and keeping yourself out of crit ranges, especially if you're using stall. Stall can fall apart really quickly if one of your mons gets crit, because usually stall needs like all the members to work together to defend against a team, right? Unless someone else on the enemy team dies, and you probably need everyone. Yeah, so if you're playing super passive and carelessly, just by quick and recover a bunch of times or whatever, you're gonna make yourself prone to crits. So it's just good practice, especially because that recover actually just saves Cow the game to keep yourself out of crit ranges. It's an important question to ask sometimes, especially if you're ahead and you think you're in an unlosable position. You may not actually be unlosable. Sometimes these games can be taken from you just because crits are in this game, unfortunately. Sometimes this game is not entirely a game of skill. How can I lose this game, and rather than how can I win this game? Sometimes you'll see people just play willy-nilly, even on offensive teams, just by poor sequencing or whatever. They end up losing a game because they get crit once, and then they just played stupidly before that because they didn't count for crits or whatever. But yeah, this should just be, unless this doesn't crit here. Yeah, no, this is over. Yep. It's over. Well, well played the Cow. And Rubyblood too. Honestly, not a fan of this team. Barring the I don't like him. A lot of people don't like Amogus in general, but sometimes it fits on the 6. But especially because this team is slow as hell, I'm not a super fan. Like, your speed control here is Keldeo. Wow. Like, you know what I mean? Rubyblood probably most definitely brought this team for a reason and just didn't bring something random. Especially because it worked out here, right? He didn't need the speed control. But yeah. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions or different sets you want me to commentate or whatever. I know I say ums a lot. I've been working on them. It's not really something I can just like make disappear in one video, right? But anyways, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.